Amos? One minute. Thank you, Amos. Good morning, participants. So, I welcome you all for the third day of our STTP program. So, it's my pleasure to introduce my friend, Mr. Dr. S. Suresh Kumar. Uh, Dr. S. Suresh Kumar did his BE Mechanical Engineering from ABC College of Engineering, Mailadurai in the year 2001. He completed his master's in engineering design from Kongu Engineering College, Erode in the year 2004. He did his PhD from IIT Madras in the machine design department in the year 2012. He has totally 11 years of teaching experience and presently working as an associate professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, SSN College of Engineering, Chennai. His areas of research includes fatigue and fracture mechanics, crash analysis of auto components, and ballistic impact studies on naval and aerospace materials. He has good number of international journal and conference publications and guiding 4 PhD research scholars. He has communicated 4 patents in the field of automotive safety attachments. The patents are under review. He was one of the author of the textbook Introduction to Design Thinking, published by McGraw-Hill Publications in the year 2019. So it's a very pleasure and honor. We have Dr. S. Suresh Kumar in our session. Over to Suresh Kumar.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you for your brief introduction. Thanks a lot for the opportunity given to me. Very good morning, friends. Uh, in this another 1.5 hours, we are going to discuss about how to use finite element method for a fracture analysis problem. Definitely, many research scholars may be attending the program, or faculties doing research or completed research. So those who are completed research, definitely it would be a new area for you, for us to give a problem for our final year students, or we can send proposals to any funding agencies, or we can suppose if you are interested in this area, definitely we can have a joint collaboration to work in the same area. So by keeping all those things in our mind, I have made my presentation in this way. So in the presentation, start with very brief, very small introduction about why finite element method and why fracture mechanics, and how to use finite element method to a fracture analysis problem. I made the presentation into 3 segments. First segment will be about the basics, as already other um, speakers might have covered in the last few days. Still, let's see the application of FEA in a different perspective. Then we will enter into the what is the practical importance of fracture mechanics for the life estimation of many components. Then how can we, third session, last session will be small with a simple tutorial or exercise. I will explain how to do the fracture mechanics problem using abacus. So this is the forthcoming journey. So anyone of please, if you have any queries anytime, you can interrupt me and you can ask, then and there we can clarify. uh, Everybody knows very well that any engineering problem, let's take an example, we are playing a guitar, or we are throwing the ball or in the playground, or we are applying the fragrance in a room freshener in a hall. So these are the real time activities. How to convert these real time activities into a strength of material problem? Any one of you can answer. Suppose if you are in, if you want to share something related to, so these are the real time examples or real time activities. I am applying this room spray in a auditorium. That's the one. From what is the time taken for the fragrance to reach from the backside to the stage? U of x comma t. How to calculate? That is the one first question. And second one, uh, we may be throwing the ball towards the second floor or third floor from the base. That may be the one of activity. We may be playing the guitar, or we are frying something in our kitchen. So these are the real-time activities. How to convert these real-time activities into a equation? Any idea? Anybody can share if you want to share your views. Generally, in the very fundamental part of finite element method is, already we have learned Fourier transform, Laplace transform, and then many one-dimensional wave equation, heat, everything we have learned. But how to use those equation for a real-world problem is the question. So, for example, if you are frying something in a kitchen or cooking in the cooking vessel, so the end of the spoon is in the source temperature. Our hand is in the atmospheric temperature. Then in between any temperature T of X can be related to our heat transfer problem. Already we have learned Poisson's equation, Laplace equations and all. Similarly, whenever we are playing a guitar, the vibration of the guitar string can be related to a one-dimensional wave equation. Similarly, in the frying cooking items can be related to a 2D heat transfer problem. Similarly, diffusion equation can be used for the fragrance smell when it travels in the open or closed auditorium. So in this way, the first foremost step of finite element method is how to convert the real-time activities or real-time processes into a mathematical expression. So once if we can able to so another example, we are using the swimming pool. There is a diving pad. So the diving pad, whenever we are using standing at the end of the diving pad alone can be treated as a cantilever beam loaded at the end. For example, if I stand there, my weight is say 65 kg, 65 into 9.81. That much load is acting at the end of the cantilever beam. So because of that load, where the stresses will be higher and where we can expect the failure regions. So that is our main, as a design perspective, what is the main objective of this finite element technique? What is the application? In all the ANSYS exercise, Abacus, Nastron, everywhere, we are interested in calculating stresses, strain, displacement. What is the importance of that? Anybody? Anyway, just you can don't worry about your rank answer. Even I may not be knowing many things. This is the best chance for mutually we can share our views or answers. Suppose if you want to share any information, even it's wrong or right, don't worry about it. Any information if you want to share, you can do. What is the main purpose of calculating stresses, strains, displacement at the end of each analysis? Any idea? So we are carrying out ANSYS about many softwares we are using. At the end of the analysis, we are calculating the stress, strains, everything. The main purpose of calculating everything is to check whether the design or whether the component can withstand that stress or not. That's the reason we are comparing the obtained value with the design value or with the allowable value, allowable stress. For example, a cantilever beam loaded at the end, the stresses will be higher at the fixed end, whereas displacement will be higher at the loaded region. Suppose if the fixed end, if the stress induced is 130 megapascal, and if the yield strength of the material is only 90 megapascal, then the structure will not withstand that load. That conclusion we can obtain, and that conclusion is badly required for a industry perspective is concerned. As a design engineer or analysis engineer, we have to clearly indicate how the component will fail and where failure can be expected and what is the safe load a component can withstand. To answer this entire question, there are three methods are available. For example, I am an industry person. Let's say I need to answer three questions. How come a component will fail? What is the maximum load it can withstand? What is the maximum, how to calculate the life of that component? To answer these entire three questions, so there what are the methods? How can I answer these three questions? Anybody? Anyone? Suppose if I want to answer these three questions, what are the methods available? First, either I can conduct experimentation. This is my first method. And second, I can go for the numerical method. And third one, either I can do analytical expression. Okay, so these are the three methods available to find a solution to any engineering problem. So whatever we learned from our strength of materials, dynamics of machines, kinematics comes under analytical method, because analytically we know what is the formula to calculate delta. For example, delta equals to WLQ by 48 EI. So this is the deflection of a beam subjected to point load at the center, since a simply supported beam loaded at the center. So this is the analytical expression. So always analytical method consists lot of assumptions. What are the assumptions in this behind this expression? The material is homogeneous, the material is isotropic, and then the cross section which is perpendicular to the normal load remains same after application of the load. So many assumptions we made before this analytical expressions. And similarly, experimental always it will take lot of time and cost involved. For example, if I want to simulate the crash impact of a two cars when collides each other, so what is the minimum cost? Actually, I had an experience to test the car bumper at Arai, Pune. ARAI. Even if you can suggest this address to your students, research scholars, whoever you want. So there we can do the testing of the automotive real-time testing. All the bumper test, shock emission, all the tests. AR, Automotive Research Association of India. Only 3 or 4 locations are there in entire India. Pune is the important region in the west side. So there we can do the testing. Can you approximately guess what is the cost required for to test one bumper? 70,000 rupees. So, and moreover, the bumper setting, everything, it will take a lot of time and cost involved. That's why experimentation method, even though the results are benchmark results, lot of time and cost involved are very high. That's why we cannot choose this method for certain engineering applications. Whereas analytical method possesses a lot of assumptions, and moreover, analytical method is suitable only for a standard geometry subjected to a uniform, static, certain criteria, certain amount for a fixed load only. For example, in our two-wheeler front suspension, what is the load induces in the front suspension? Take example of a two-wheeler Pulsar. The front suspension is telescopic, whereas the rear suspension is coil spring based. For example, the front, what is the spring load or vibration load received for my shock absorption system? It is a random load. The load is not constant, and moreover, it is with respect to time and road surface, it is a continuously varying load. For those load conditions and all, there is no analytical formulas are available. We have to make an assumption by assuming and the variation random load using cycle counting. Many techniques are there to convert the random loads into a useful sine function or cos function. So using some filtering technique or Z transform, some transformation techniques we can use to filter the unwanted signals to get the exact load pattern. That is a cumbersome process. But even then, there is no direct analytical expressions are available for the randomly distributed load. So this is the overall methods available. So any of even my research work is concerned, it is more related to experimental and numerical. I worked with the Abacus software, so it comes under numerical method. I did part of my fatigue experiments experimentally, so it comes under experimentation part also. So any research work can be grouped under any one of this category. It may be either experimental or numerical or analytical. Okay, so now since the previous class lectures, they have exhaustively covered about the fundamentals of finite element method and what are the different method variational approach and weighted everything. Those parts have been completed on the earlier sections. Now little bit directly we'll quick some of the portions and we'll go to the today's lecture. As I mentioned, first part we are going to discuss about finite element method. So in the FEA right now, the FEA tool is a powerful tool to get the approximate solution. We cannot say exact solution. All numerical method based softwares will give a approximate solution. Even different domains of problem, even the aircraft, if you consider the aircraft part alone, what are the numerical technique required to completely analyze the aircraft structure? Anybody? What are the numerical technique? Just now I mentioned experimentation method is one solution. Numerical method, even in the numerical method there are many techniques are there. finite element method, and finite volume method, then boundary element method, then finite difference method. So different methods are available under numerical method to completely, for example, if I want to analyze the nose portion, what is the stress induced in the nose portion of the aircraft, what simulation technique is required, finite difference method we have to go for. Using the CFD we can find the complete aerodynamics analysis of the aircraft. Suppose if I want to find out the wing analysis or aircraft structures, okay, wing and fuselage analysis, so find element method we can go for. So in the ductile tearing of the aircraft riveted joints, we can go for boundary element method. So finite difference method scheme also can be used. It's a very old technique. We can skip right now. So in this way, all the different numerical techniques are being used to thoroughly understand the design the complete design the to design the component various components of the aircraft structures. Especially now, I'll tell you a situation. You tell me which how this situation can be analyzed. Aircraft landing gear is a component. Okay, aircraft landing gear is a component. Can you share me your views? What analysis should be carried out, and what type of failure can be expected, and what is the possible solutions to that? Any idea? Your view. You can share any inputs, or probably you might have worked in that domain. Even you can share your experience also. Any suggestions or points related to this? Any participants? Okay. For example, aircraft landing gear is concerned, it is subject to impact loading. Okay. So how to give a impact load to a mechanical component? So that is the important question. And another one is during the landing of the entire aircraft, sometimes drift land, many type of landing is possible. Okay. So, and moreover, at the time of touchdown, the moment when the aircraft landing gear tire touches the ground, we can find the huge noise and smoke sometimes at the contact region. Okay, because of that contact or severe impact load, how that impact load is transmitted to other structures of the aircraft. This is an important study. Once if we know that, then only we can plan a shock absorbing system to the aircraft. Whenever we travel in the aircraft, we never experienced that jerk and all. Slightly we may feel. Okay, but imagine how many passengers are there. What is the weight of the aircraft? Half mv square. So m is nothing but entire aircraft weight plus passenger weight and crew member, pilot, including your luggage, everything that comes under m. V, what is the aircraft speed? So that half mv square is momentarily it is going to touch the floor or a runway. At that time, what is the severe impact load transmitted between them, and how it gets transmitted to other part of the aircraft component? So those analysis also interesting and important. As if we are very good in those areas, definitely we can apply for some funding agencies, or that is the main objective of this presentation. Okay, so as we discussed, what is the image in the central image in the presentation indicates? Anybody? What is the central image indicates? Once again, I will play this. Actually, this is equal to a discretization. It is equals. Exactly. That's why intentionally I introduced this image. So in the finite elements, so the images, even though in the images finite, it mentioned finite element analysis, the dimension of each and every element is different. Okay, and moreover, each and every element is one volume. Okay, for example, if I give you a small thread, a long thread, and if I ask you to cut the thread into 100 sub small divisions, that is equal to one dimensional problem. Okay, draw a line and divide the line into 10 segments or 20 segments, that is equal to one dimensional problem. And example for the second 2D problem will be, take a A4 size sheet and scissor, cut it into small pieces, either it may be a rectangle or it may be a triangular shape. That is called 2D problems. And similarly, take example of a birthday cake and cut the cake using a standard volume, that is maybe the solid elements. So always in the FEA part, whenever we are teaching to the students, if we say some simple examples, they will never forget. That is one aspect. And we also will never commit a mistake whenever explaining to the students. Okay, so now the idea behind the screen is we are going to discretize the complex domain, and those histories I'm skipping since it has been dealt already. So the main application of the what I would suggest is any domain. The domain may be a solid mechanics, or it may be a heat transfer, or it may be a fluid mechanics, or if some triple E participants are there, electromagnetic. For example, solid mechanics SM, it may be a thermal domain or fluid mechanics, and MEMS. Let's take that part we'll skip. For a solid mechanics, what is the load? Point load we can say is the load. And what is the boundary condition? Fixed at both n. This is called bound. This is the load. This is the boundary condition. And what is the governing GDE? Governing differential equation. The beam equation. EI into d power 4 y by something equals to q of x something. So this is the governing differential equation. Boundary condition. What is the boundary condition? And what is the load acting on the structure? So these three, the difference in table, everybody should understand. For example, for a thermal field problem, what is the load? Anybody? For a solid mechanics problem, this is the one domain. Solid mechanics is the one domain. All strength of materials problem, we can find a solution using FEA also. That comes under solid mechanics domain. All our heat transfer problem, heat and mass transfer problem, we can find the solution using finite element method also. It comes under heat transfer thermal domain. All fluid mechanics, GDJP, is it possible? Anybody? Okay, that part will come to later. Now, for a thermal field problem, what is the load condition? Any idea? For a solid mechanics problem, we are saying a UDL, point load, uniformly varying load, fatigue load, many load we are describing. Similarly, what is the load under thermal domain? Any idea? Similarly, for a thermal field problem, what is the boundary condition? For a thermal field problem, somebody may be working.
Load will be heat, sir.
என்னங்கப்பா சொல்லுங்க.
Load will be heat, sir.
என்ன சொன்னீங்க? ஹீட்
Load, sir. Load will be heat.
யூனிட் மட்டும் சொல்லுங்க.
Watt, sir. Watt per meter.
இதுதான் you are very closer to the answer, but exact answer என்னன்னா heat flux னு சொல்றோம் பாத்தீங்களா, watt per meter square. That is the load condition for a thermal problem. Similarly, internal heat generation, watt per meter cube. I am not a thermal man. Watt per meter cube. So watt per meter square is the heat flux. This is internal heat generation rate. These two are treated as the load for a thermal problem, and temperature can be treated as the boundary conditions. Okay. Similarly, for a fluid mechanics, we can say. So this difference we have to be very clear. Whenever we are working for a solid mechanics domain, what is the load? It may be a point load, UDL, UVL, fatigue load. Many loads are there. Similarly, what is the boundary condition? Fixed at one end, or roller support at the other end. Axial displacement is permitted. So these are the terms related to boundary conditions. Similarly, for a heat transfer problem, the load may be watt per. Can you tell any one of you? Tell me example watt per meter square. இந்த ஹீட் ஃப்ளக்ஸுங்கிற லோடு எங்கப்பா அப்ளை பண்றோம்? யாராவது யூஸ் பண்ணிருக்கீங்க? உங்க ரிசர்ச் ஒர்க்லயும் கூட நீங்க யூஸ் பண்ணிருக்கலாம். ஹீட் ஃப்ளக்ஸுங்கிறது எதை சொல்றோம் நம்ம? சிமிலர்லி வாட் பர் மீட்டர் கியூப் உங்களுக்கு தெரியும். இன்டர்னல் ஒரு ரூம் இருக்கு, அந்த ரூம்ல ஒரு அயன் பாக்ஸ் ஆன் பண்ணி வச்சோம்னா இட் இஸ் இன்டர்னல் ஹீட் இஸ் ஜென்ரேட்டட். ஒரு காயில் ஹீட்டர் இருக்கு அப்படின்னா இட்ஸ் இன்டர்னல் வாட் பர் மீட்டர் கியூப். அப்போ இந்த 1 மீட்டர் கியூப் வால்யூம்குள்ள வாட் இஸ் த அமௌண்ட் ஆஃப் ஹீட் எனர்ஜி டிசிபேட்டட் ஆர் டெவலப்டு. Similarly, watt per meter square. Whenever we are welding the two plate, anybody working in welded joints in that area? யாராவது கப்பிள்டு ஹீட் டிரான்ஸ்ஃபர்ல வெல்டிங்ல ஒர்க் பண்றீங்களா? இந்த வாட் பர் மீட்டர் ஸ்கொயர்ங்கிறது என்னன்னா, அந்த எலக்ட்ரோட்ல இருந்து அந்த ரெண்டு பிளேட்டோட இன்டர்ஃபேஸ்ல நம்ம டிஃபைன் பண்ற மூவிங் ஹீட் சோர்ஸ், அதுக்கு அதோட யூனிட் வந்து வாட் பர் மீட்டர் ஸ்கொயர் நீங்க யூஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம். ஸோ இதுதான் வந்து ஹீட் ஃப்ளக்ஸ். So whenever we are before doing an analysis, we should be very strong. What is our objective? What in which domain we are working? Whether it's a pure structural or it's a thermal or fluid mechanics or MEMS, இந்த மாதிரி நிறைய இருக்கு. எந்த டொமைன்ல ஒர்க் பண்ண போறோங்கிறதுல we have to be very clear. And then what is the loading and boundary conditions for our problem? That is also important. And third, impact analysis. What type of analysis we are going to do? Whether 1D, 2D or 3D. So in the 1D, 2D, 3D, it is again purely based on the nature of the problem. For example, heat transfer u of x comma y or temperature of x comma y. So these are a 2D problem. So definitely in the differential equation will be dou square y something, because partial different, because here differentiation with respect to two variables. So similarly 3D problem. So there are this is the analysis method. Are we going to use 1D, 2D or 3D? So that we have to decide. Then which domain is the first step? So whether are we going to work solid mechanics, thermal and fluid mechanics, the domain refinement, step number 1. After that, what type of analysis, whether 1D, 2D or 3D, that is the second step. Then after that, plane stress, plane strain, that I'll come back later. So these two things have to be very clear. And for example, and before these two steps, we should be very strong how to convert the real world problem into solid mechanics problem or heat transfer problem. Okay, I'll ask you another question. Something we are frying in the cooking in the kitchen. Something we are frying, அந்த frying processங்கிறது ஒரு ரியல் டைம் ப்ராசஸ். அதோட கவர்னிங் டிஃபரன்ஷியல் ஈக்குவேஷன் என்னன்னு யாருக்கா தெரியுமாப்பா? தப்பா இருந்துச்சுன்னா பரவாயில்ல, எனக்கும் தெரியாது, ஈக்குவேஷன் என்னன்னு தெரியாது. சம்திங் வி ஆர் ஃப்ரைங் இன் த கிச்சன். கிச்சன்ல ஃப்ரை பண்றோம், ஒரு ஸ்பூன் யூஸ் பண்ணி ஃப்ரை பண்றோம். அந்த ஸ்பூனோட இன்னும் நான் இன்னும் உங்களுக்கு சிம்பிளாக ஒரு டிராயிங் மாதிரியே வரைஞ்சிடறேன். இது வந்து நம்ம ஃப்ரையிங் பேன். நம்ம யூஸ் பண்ற இந்த மாதிரி இருக்கு. இது ஹேண்ட்பார் இங்க இருக்கு. இங்க வந்து இந்த ஹேண்ட்பாரோட டெம்பரேச்சர் T அட்மாஸ்பியர். இங்க நம்ம ஹீட் பண்றோம். இங்க வந்து we are giving the heat energy to the vessel. So இந்த இடத்துல டெம்பரேச்சர் T சோர்ஸ் டெம்பரேச்சர், இங்க T அட்மாஸ்பியர் இருக்கு. இன் பிட்வீன்ல ஒரு பாயிண்ட்ல ஐ வாண்ட் டு கால்குலேட் T ஆஃப் x, T. பர்டிகுலர் டிஸ்டன்ஸ்ல பர்டிகுலர் டைம்ல வாட் இஸ் த டெம்பரேச்சர், ஐ வாண்ட் டு கால்குலேட் திஸ். So for this equation we can use the Tx minus T infinity divided by Ti minus T infinity equals to எரர் ஃபங்க்ஷன் ஆஃப், இதுக்கு மேல எக்ஸாக்டா தெரியல, இந்த ஈக்குவேஷனை யூஸ் பண்ணி நம்ம சால்வ் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். திஸ் இஸ் அனாலிட்டிக்கல் எக்ஸ்பிரஷன் அண்ட் திஸ் இஸ் த ரியல் டைம் ப்ராசஸ். We should be very strong in converting the real time process or activity into a either solid mechanics problem or heat transfer. After its conversion, then it would be easy to find a solution to the differential equation. Most probably we are trying to convert the all real world problem or all domain problem into a differential equation. Okay, so once if we convert the any real time activity into a real time activities into a differential equation, then finding the solution to the differential equation is quite simple. For example, even I studied long back, d square minus 4d plus 5 equals to sin x, e power sin x something. So this is a differential equation. Capital D is nothing but d square y by dx square. Okay, this is the differential equation. Actually, this differential equation conveys a particular real time event or activity. It clearly explains the one event. It represents the one event. அது என்னங்கிறது தெரியல, ஆனா இந்த ஈக்குவேஷன் வந்து it clearly indicates one real time application. For how to now, once if we convert to in this format, then finding the solution, the general solution equals to particular integral plus complementary function, I guess. I'm not sure. So okay. So if we add the general solution equal to summation of this, in this way we can find a solution. So the foremost idea behind the finite element analysis is step number 1, how to convert a real world problem into a solid mechanics problem or heat transfer problem or fluid mechanics problem. This is step number 1. And step number 2, domain we have constrained or we have refined our domain, in which domain we are going to work. That is step number 2. And step number 3, what is the loading and boundary condition for our problem, that we have to identify. And step number 4, what are we looking for from the analysis? What is my objective function of analysis? Again, I'll ask you another question. There is a cantilever beam subjected loaded at the end. From this I can calculate the delta, okay, and sigma also I calculate. So this is the induced stress. After I calculated the bending stress, this value should be compared with yield strength of the material. If the induced stress is less than the yield strength of the material, then I can strongly say that my design is safe. Fine. If the same load is fatigue, then how to validate and how to find the solution? Any idea? Suppose instead of static load, if it is a dynamic load or if it is a vibratory load, then what should I do? Any idea? Static load la enna pandrona, we are trying to find out the induced stress or what is the deflection. We are trying to compare the induced stress with the design value or stress yield strength of the material. We are trying to compare, and if the induced value is less than the design value, then we can confirmly say that our design is safe. Fine. Now if the load is vibratory load, with respect to time, with the magnitude continuously varies. Suppose if the same load is vibratory load, then how to justify that our structure is safe? Any idea? Those who are working in vibration can answer. Those who are working in vibration area can answer for this question. Any idea? Okay, so if for a vibration related problem, we are going to calculate the natural frequency of the vibrating system. If this natural frequency is less than the resonance frequency, then we can say that our structure is safe. Or we can indirectly calculate what in which region in the equipment should not get operated. So that conclusion we can arrive at the end of the dynamic analysis. So that is the main objective behind this finite element analysis. So define. So here in the image indicates there is a domain. Suppose if I want to calculate, these are the 4 nodes are there. Look at the first element. This is element number 1. If I only as per this discretization is concerned, this is node 1, node 2, node 3, and then node 4. Only in the nodal region I can get the displacement and the stresses. If I want to calculate the stresses in the interior point, how can I obtain this? Any idea? Suppose if I want to calculate the values of the field variable at the inner region of the element, how can I calculate? Any idea?
By finding out the x and y coordinates value, sir.
இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் ரிஃபைன் பண்ண முடியுங்களா உங்க ஆன்சரை? பிகாஸ் n1 எனக்கு தெரியும். ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் நோடு 1ல வாட் இஸ் த டிஸ்பிளேஸ்மெண்ட் தெரியும். அது மாதிரி 2 நோடு 2ல டிஸ்பிளேஸ்மெண்ட் தெரியும். y3 y4 எல்லாமே கண்டுபிடிச்சாச்சு. நவ் ஐ வாண்ட் y ஆஃப் x y x அந்த இன் பிட்வீன் இன்னர் ரீஜன்ல இருக்க ஒரு பாயிண்ட்ல கண்டுபிடிக்கணும்னா, that's why we are using the approximation function, that is which is also called as shape function from the known nodal value. நம்ம FEL equation எழுதுறோம்ல சார், n1 u1 plus n2 u2 plus n3. What does it mean? n1 at any point, left hand side la இருக்கிறது shape function or field variable at any point equals to n1 u1 shape function multiplied by field variable at that node. அதாவது இந்த known value ல இருந்து unknown value வை interpolation function யூஸ் பண்ணி we are trying to predict. So that is அந்த interpolation function க்கு பேரு தான் shape function. So we know the values of field variable at the nodal region 1 2 3 4. Even answers any software, only we can get the values nodal results or element results. Fine. If I specifically, if I want the values of the field variable at the interior region, something like this, then I have to do the interpolation function. So whenever we teach this same course to the student, or we can also, so that's the reason if we use of higher order element, definitely will improve the accuracy of our solution. H method, P method, 2 methods are there in ANSYS. Everybody knows very well. The P method is to increasing the order of the polynomial, and H method is increasing the number of element. Even the same element can be further divided into 1 2 3 4. If you do so, still we can increase the accuracy of the element. Okay, so this is the idea, and this is an overview of the finite element applications and other applications. Within another 10 minutes I will wind up this portion, then we'll go to the fracture mechanics part. For example, this is the one right now we are looking at the aircraft now. So here this is the engine, this is also a engine. So how to convert the aircraft wing alone to a SM solid mechanics strength of materials problem? Anybody? ஒரு ஏர்கிராஃப்ட் இருக்கு, விங் இருக்கு, அது கீழே வந்து 2 இன்ஜின் வெயிட் இருக்கு, தட்ஸ் இட். இத ஹவு கேன் வி கன்வெர்ட் இன்டு எ ஏர்கிராஃப்ட்? ஏன்னா இந்த நாலேஜ் நமக்கு ஸ்ட்ராங்கா இருந்தோம்னா while writing the proposal it will be helpful to us, or whenever we called for the project presentation, at that time also this knowledge and this idea will help a lot to us. Any idea? So now the aircraft wing alone can be treated as a cantilever beam, okay, with tapered cross section. My assumption may be wrong, even you may correct at any time. And there are 2 loads, this is a first load and this is a second engine. So in this way we can correct, okay. So what is the section modulus? How to for this is a tapered cross section, okay. There are 2 loads, total engine weight, this is a engine 1, this is engine 2, so total weight can be added E1 and E2. So in this way if we convert like this, and the cross section is uniform, tapered cross section, in between spar element is there and support structure, many complex structures are there in between, flaps are there, this is called the flap. So the entire this one we can convert into cantilever beam, this is our assumption. So finding the solution to this real world problem using analytical expression will not yield the exact answer. So that is the reason we are going to make use of either ANSYS or Abacus to find the solution to exactly determine what is the maximum stress, what is the maximum stress developed at this fixed support because of the is my loading conditions are correct, this is the weight of the engine. Apart from that, yeah, wind velocity also will act all over the aircraft wing. So to represent this is the load caused by the aircraft wing, sorry, wind velocity. Whenever we are driving the bike, in our face we can experience the impact of the wind. Similarly, in the same UDL or surface load we can expect in the throughout the length of the aircraft wing. So if we include the entire this one, we can calculate what is the total deflection, and similarly what is the maximum bending stress we can obtain at the fixed support, especially in this region. Okay, in this region what is the maximum load or stress we can obtain, so that we can calculate. So suppose if there is a crack at this region, if there is a crack at this region, whenever it continuously it flies, what will happen? The crack initially it may be the small length, it will start to propagate, finally it may leads to fast fracture. So that is the reason we are interested in using fracture mechanics approach to find the solution of aircraft structures. Okay, so this is the one idea. And similarly, this is a detailed aircraft structure analysis. See how the compartments are there. Balancing is most important. And I want to ask one more question. Whenever we are booking the train ticket, we don't have an option to select our own seats. What is the reason? Any idea? Whenever we are booking the train ticket, we don't have an option to select our own seats. Whereas Volvo buses, we can pick up our own seats. Why? What is the reason behind it? Any idea? Okay, you please think. If you get the answer at the end of the lecture, you can share with me. So this is a detailed structural, what are the different structural members used in the aircraft analysis. Now the question is any small crack. So in the, for example, the major difference between strength of material and fracture mechanics. The first assumption in strength of material is the material is homogeneous, defect free, and isotropic. There is no defect is presented in the material. That is the foremost assumption in the solid mechanics or strength of materials. Whereas fracture mechanics concern, the basic assumption itself is their existence of a crack. How to determine the induced stresses in a structure under the presence of a defect. For that, fracture mechanics is the important solution. The crack have multiple dimensions. Suppose any civil department participants are there in this workshop, so you may be dealing with cracks of length 1 meter, whereas mechanical may be metallurgical aspects, maybe micro level cracks, whereas metallurgy people may be working with grain boundary cracks, nano level cracks. So the word crack is has different dimensions for different departments. Civil department people, they are least bothered about micro cracks and all. For a huge bridge construction or huge structure, what is for their perspective, the crack will have a dimension of 10 mm or more than that. Whereas mechanical people, what for we people, micro level cracks we are dealing with that. Whereas for the metallurgical people, they are dealing with cracks of nano level. So the fracture mechanics will provide a solution to problems which are mechanical components which consist of a defect at various regions in the entire aircraft structure. If there is a small crack in the fuselage portion or in the aircraft region, if there is a small crack here, okay, during the service condition, how this crack will propagate and how the fracture of the entire aircraft will happen, for that we can make use of the fracture mechanics approach. Okay, so now you have learned what for we have to use fracture mechanics for a real-time application. Definitely I can help you for all the participants regarding your project proposal writing, or if you want to work in the fracture mechanics area. Suppose how to determine the fracture parameters for in a component, even that itself a project. Even right now I'm also dealing writing the proposal in that domain only. That's why I'm asking. There are many approaches are there in the fracture mechanics itself. LEFM approach, linear elastic fracture mechanics, then EPFM, elastic plastic fracture mechanics approach. LEFM is suitable for brittle material. If your material is brittle and the crack tip plastic zone size is very less, then we can make use of the LEFM approach. EPFM is nothing but elastic plastic fracture mechanics concept, which is suitable for ductile material. So some of the participants may be working with SS304 or 30LN materials. Some materials are related to radioactive materials or high toughened material. So high toughness materials can withstand large plastic deformation. So EPFM is suitable. So LEFM approach, there are two approaches. Many approaches are there. Right now for today's discussion we are going to bother about what is LEFM and EPFM. So in the case of fracture mechanics deals with presence of the structures when there existence of a crack. That is the main thing. Whereas solid mechanics, strength of whatever we learned in our strength of materials is suitable for structures without crack. This is the idea. Even for them, whenever the structure is moving at very high speed, so take example of a missiles or stealth aircrafts and all, the speed is very high. Even can you approximately predict what could be the speed of the aircraft in the runway? Any idea? Aircraft speed in runway? International flights are concerned, definitely it is more than 300, more than 400 to 500 kilometer per hour. With that speed only it should get operated in the runway to make a takeoff. Okay, so during at that very high speed application and high at that time, what is the how to determine the strength of the material, and if there is a presence of the defect in the structure, how to find out. So those areas are important application of the finite element method. And similarly for this entire structure, okay, right now you are seeing a bridge. What type of analysis you will carry out to determine the life? Any idea? ஒரு பிரிட்ஜ் இருக்கு, நீங்க பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கிறது வந்து ஒரு பிரிட்ஜ் பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கீங்க. இது ரியல் டைம் அப்ளிகேஷன் தான். இந்த பிரிட்ஜை வந்து கன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ட் பண்றதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஆர் பிஃபோர் இன்ஸ்டலேஷன், வாட் ஆர் த டைப் ஆஃப் அனாலிசிஸ் ரிக்வயர்ட்? ஸ்டாட்டிக் அனாலிசிஸ், டைனமிக் அனாலிசிஸ், ஃபட்டிக் அனாலிசிஸ் இருக்கு, ஆர் ஜியோதெர்மல் அனாலிசிஸ் இருக்கு, எர்த்குவேக் ஸ்ட்ரக்சர்ஸ் அதுக்கு ரிலேட்டடா என்னென்ன பண்ணலாம், ஜியோஸ்டாட்டிக். ஸோ தேர் ஆர் மெனி அனாலிசிஸ் ஆர் தேர். ஸோ பேஸ்ட் ஆன் த அப்ளிகேஷன் only we have to select. Suppose if this region, if this island or something, if this region is prone to earthquake structure, then compulsorily dynamic analysis is required. What is the whether resonance will occur or not, that we have to identify. And similarly, if many vehicles are during the prolonged usage of this bridge, what is the life? What is the maximum load carrying capability of the structure? During the prolonged period, what is the stress developed in the structure? Everything we have to calculate. Okay. So this is the failed structure. So this is the earlier one is the actual bridge. So this here, see, look at this region. It is a failed region. Because what are the reasons for the failure? This is called a fracture. What is the difference between deformation and fracture? Anybody? Difference between deformation and fracture? We are traveling in a car. If there is a dent formed in our car, that is an example for deformation or plastic deformation. Fine. Whereas car, if the same component breaks into two pieces, that is called the fracture. Okay. So we are going to determine, we are going to use Abacus software to determine how a component would fail by fracture. That is our idea. So this is a complete modeling of the bridge. So for this, they carried out the static and dynamic analysis. Okay, particularly vibration analysis is required, so that what is the force transmitted to the foundation, that we can calculate. And even any civil, if any civil participants are there, 1 second, you can concentrate on geostatic. So geothermal, what is the maximum load it can withstand, or earthquake load it can withstand? In that aspect also we can consider. Okay, this is the crash analysis of the vehicle. For example, whenever this is called the metal forming analysis. Okay, so some years back we handled the workshop related to how to use Abacus to find the solution of a metal forming problem. So if you need any help related to this, definitely you can contact me. So this is, for example, this is because of the impact load, the structure deforms plastically. Okay, how to bring this phenomenon using numerical method? So that is quite interesting. Okay, so the crash analysis or crash behavior of automotive structures can also be done using finite element method. Similarly, thermal analysis also we can do. Anybody, can you share your inputs? How to calculate residual stresses? Any idea? Using Abacus, any numerical method based software, how to calculate residual stresses? Anybody? Or what technique should be used to determine the residual stresses in a component, residual stresses in a welded joint or formed component? How to do that? Any idea? So for that, we have to use the coupled field analysis. That is, we can couple the structural field along with the thermal domain to get the thermal stresses. If you are interested in calculating the thermal, for example, imagine there is a fluid which passes through the pipeline. Because of the fluid flow, what is the stress developed in the pipe wall? It can be calculated using the coupled field by coupling the fluid domain plus structural, FSI, fluid structure interaction. So which using this we can calculate what is the, because of the fluid flow, what is the stress developed in the structure, that we can calculate. So this is another application of the FEA, wherein we can calculate using the coupled field option, we can calculate the residual stresses. So everybody, those who are working in the welded joints, definitely will appreciate the compressive residual stress will have a positive impact, and the tensile residual stress will have a negative impact for the structures are concerned. So electromagnetic, right now I want to skip because we'll focus to mechanical application. Even the radiotherapy, lung cancer, even we have already worked with the biomedical department to understand, for example, our spine structure. Using the Mimic software, you can get the complete MRI scan, okay, or any CT scan. From the scan data can be converted into a three-dimensional solid geometry. So in that geometry, we can apply the mechanical load and we can find what is the maximum stress developed in our backbone, so that we can calculate using analysis software. So that is also possible. So these are the other applications, how to use FEA to identify the bio applications. Even we are trying for one more experiment right now, Tayathon. I think you may be also in your college maybe trying that. toy hackathon, right? So how to test the structure and saliva environment for the kids. So that is also we are working right now. So FEA has even the entire day we may be discussing about the application of FEA in various domain. One second. So up to this, whatever we discussed is the what is the fundamental part of FEA and various application of finite element method to the real world applications. Okay. Now let us quickly go to the analysis part. How to use the Abacus software for the fracture mechanics part. One example after this explanation, I'm going to demonstrate one example for that. So what is the Abacus software? Abacus, anybody is working Abacus right now? Because if you don't have an experience, then I can start little bit from the scratch. Otherwise, I can skip some of the portions. Anyhow, no issues. Abacus is a finite element method based software. If we are interested in structural analysis, dynamic analysis, especially fracture analysis, life estimation, this software will help you a lot. So this software is exclusively meant for carry out fatigue and fracture mechanics applications. Right now, we are working exhaustively using this software only. We have requested many projects from DRDO labs using Abacus only, not yet granted, but we are developing a proof of concept for their requirement. So that's why I also suggest definitely this software will help you for the proposal writing for your PhD work and guiding the students for final year projects also. So mainly the Abacus softwares, this is a quick introduction. Now directly I will explain the software using the version available with us. So using the main capabilities are static analysis is possible, dynamics, heat transfer, time dependent, vibration, soil is for the civil students, coupled displacement and electrical. For example, we are welding the two plates together. After welding, we can say the distortion of the welded joint or deformation of the welded joint or warping of the welded joint. So how it happens? Using the cis weld, we can get the residual stresses, it's okay. But because of during the welding, structural changes occurs in the joint. So structural element and the heat transfer element needs to be clubbed together to get the residual stress as well as structural changes in the welded joints. Okay. Similarly, heat transfer, steady state and transient, dynamics, implicit and explicit, and linear and non-linear. Can you differentiate the what is mean by linear and non-linear problems? Anybody with the example? All metal forming process comes under. Any idea? Metal forming simulations or sheet metal applications comes under non-linear. For example, in the stress strain curve of a material, if we are interested in working beyond the yield strength of the material, so in the non-linear region, if I want to convert the sheet metal into a deformed product, then I have to choose the non-linear analysis. Similarly, linear analysis, if I want to work well below the yield strength of the material, then definitely I can make use of the static linear analysis. Similarly, dynamic, implicit and explicit, two different domains are there. Heat transfer, time dependent, vibration, frequency, buckling. So these are the capabilities of Abacus software. Okay. So generally in the Abacus, one second. The Abacus consists of lot of element library and material libraries are also available, and procedure, whether implicit or explicit, and finally built-in loading library. So if you club all these 4 modules together, it will become one Abacus bundle. Okay. So if you want to work with the Abacus, first we need to, as usual, similar to your answers, we need to model the structure, then we have to do meshing, material property, everything. The same journey we have to follow. But for the fracture mechanics problem, we can introduce crack geometry for the existing structure. That is the foremost important advantages of Abacus finite element software for a fracture mechanics problem. What is crack na enna sir? For example, this is a cylinder. Okay, this is a cylinder without crack. Suppose If you introduce a small blade, this is called the crack. The length of the crack is A. Okay, the length of the crack is A. Fix the cylinder at the top surface and apply the uniformly distributed load at the base. Now the crack geometry will open. In the crack line, we can measure all the fracture parameters. அப்ப எதுக்காக சார் பண்ணணும்? What is the main objective of measuring the fracture parameters? Using the fracture parameters, we can predict the life of a component. இவ்வளவு நேரம் நான் சொன்னது எல்லாமே என்ன மெயின் பர்பஸ்ன்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா, how to determine, ஏன்னா இன்னைக்கு இண்டஸ்ட்ரியோட நீடு என்ன, எந்த R&D லேபா இருந்தாலும் வாட் இஸ் த லைஃப் ஆஃப் ஏ காம்பனண்ட், அந்த ஆஸ்பெக்ட்ல தான் ப்ராஜெக்ட்ஸும் கேட்குறாங்க. அந்த ஆஸ்பெக்ட்ஸ்ல ஒர்க் பண்றதுக்கு நம்ம ப்ராஜெக்ட்ஸ் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸுக்கு கொடுத்தா கூட லைஃப் கண்டுபிடிக்கிறதுக்கு தெரிஞ்சதுன்னா ஈஸி. ஏன்னா அந்த லைஃபை வந்து எக்ஸ்பெரிமெண்டலாவோ அனலிட்டிக்கலாவோ கால்குலேட் பண்றது டூ டிஃபிகல்ட். தட்ஸ் த ரீசன் வி ஆர் சூசிங் finite element method to find the solution or to find the determine the life of a component. So the life of the component determine பண்றதுக்கு we can make use the entire procedure யூஸ் பண்றோம். ஜூஸ் என்னன்னா அபாக்கஸ் பேஸ், அபாக்கஸ்ங்கிறது ஃப்ராக்சர் மெக்கானிக்ஸ் பேராமீட்டரை டிட்டர்மைன் பண்ணக்கூடிய ஒரு சாஃப்ட்வேர். Using the abacus software, we can estimate the fracture parameters, and using the fracture parameters, we can predict the life. So using abacus, we can get the stresses and strain similar to stresses, strains calculate பண்ணிடுறோம். And this is the for a cracked component. Under the presence of the cracked component, we can calculate the stresses and strains. And from the stresses and strains, we can calculate the life. What is the residual life of a component? Design la or concept irukku. For example, there is a person of age 40 age irukku, ஒருத்தருக்கு வந்து sugar level வந்து 140 இருக்கு. சுகரோட யூனிட் தெரியல, பட் sugar level 140 இருக்கு. As the days goes on, the sugar level also increases. So after few months later, when he will die? That is my question. Any idea? A person survives the age of 40, survives with a sugar level of 140. When he will die? Any idea? When the sugar level reaches a value equals to 260 or 280, on that day he will die. So this is the induced stress. This is the design value. Okay, so this is called, even though the presence of the sugar, he survives for another 2 to 3 years, right? That is called, what is the time taken for a component to fail before, sorry, under the presence of a crack. So for the human beings are concerned, with the presence of the sugar 140, he can survive. Definitely he won't die. When this 140 reaches 260, say 2 years it takes. That 2 years is the advanced degree. This is called damage tolerant design. That is to the determination of a life of a component under the presence of the defect. This is called damage tolerant design. So that option is possible in abacus software. Okay, these are the various elements. Definitely you might have gone through earlier. Element types explained, element type names. Yes, this is important. So this is highly linear material. See, linear elastic. Both loading and unloading follows the same path. In the stress strain curve of the material, both linear and both loading and unloading part reaches the same line. This is called linear elastic material. This is called non-linear elasticity. That is, it is not linear, but both loading and unloading are in the same curve. This is hyperelasticity. See, completely deformed. Similarly, elastic plastic models. So up to this is the elastic region, and beyond this it is a plastic region. Elastic plastic analysis. Okay. So material description, everything we are going to procedure. Now we will go to the abacus software, then I will explain. So without that, directly you can understand. I am quickly skipping this entire part, and directly with the software I will explain how to do the abacus software. First, let me explain about how to do it in abacus, then I will explain the fundamentals of fracture mechanics, because I assume that right now you can, at least in the short span of time, you can understand how to use fracture mechanics concept for modeling of the sorry, how to determine the fracture parameters using abacus software. That I will explain at least now. Can you able to see the abacus window? I changed the screen. Anyone? Okay, pa. Thank you. So the moment if you get into the abacus, so this is your working domain. First step, if even if you want to write down, you can do it at the back side. Go to create part. Okay, create part. I have clicked here. Part 1. Even you can enter the word cylinder. Okay, cylinder, solid extrusion. Then click continue. Okay, you will get a sketcher window. If you bring the cursor closer to the option, it will explain what the option name is. Create circle. So click the circle, then center line. You can create a cylinder right now. Now, if you want to change the dimension, these two options should be clicked. Then radius 22. Let me take 10. This is my radius 20. Okay, click done. And extrusion length I'm giving 100. This is the cylinder now. 20 mm is the radius, and the length of the component is 100 mm. Geometry is over. So these are the to keep it in a different views. Now, listen, how to introduce the crack, that part let it be. Now go to the activate the planes. Datum planes are required for this. So badly I require YZ plane, because this is to partition the X. I have created all the planes. Okay, and another one. Now I'm going to move the top plane. See, plane offset. I'm going to move this plane. இது எதுக்காக பண்றேங்கிறது few minutes later you can understand. The plane top plane move பண்ணி I'm going to enter value. I'm going to keep at the center. So 50 mm is my length. I have offset the plane, because with respect to this plane I'm going to partition the entire cylinder. Of partition the sense discrete. This is a kind of separating the volume. That's all. So now you can click this option. See, partition cell. So in that third option, partition cell, use datum plane. Click that and select the datum plane. Okay. Then click partition. Yes. Now this is now the total cylinder has been partitioned into two segments. Okay. This is the first one. This is the second one. In between the interface, that is the center line, I'm going to introduce a small crack. Okay, that is my objective function. That's the reason I have made a partition at the center. Okay, so now this is okay. Now go to, let it be, I will do it little later. Now go to property. So the sigma versus strain. Anybody already experienced? If I go fast, please remind me so that I will slow down my explanation. Go to material property, because in the same abacus software trial versions is available in the website, so that even you can use it for the your research work. You no need to wait for the actual licensed version. Even you can conduct simple analysis for the research work also. So go to click the stress strain curve. Go to mechanical. So these are the standard material properties available. Suppose if you want to work damage for ductile material, there are many methods are available to define the damage. Damage for fiber reinforced composites. If you want to work with the composites, options are available. Damage for elastomers, rubber, that is also possible. Go to elastic, then elastic. Click Young's modulus 2.1 e to the power 5, then Poisson's ratio 0.3. So now I'm going to consider only the elastic part of the material. So click OK. So then step number 2, create section. Click this option, solid homogeneous. Click continue. Click both sections. Okay. Okay, fine. Now click the assign section, third button, first, second, third. Click the third button. Now only you have to select all the area. Now the color will change from white to green. So the green color indicates that it is a clear indication that Whatever the property and section we have created so far has been successfully updated in our geometry. Click done. Now the material property is over. So step number 1, definition of part. Step number 2, property definition. Now go to assembly. So then click the leftmost button, create instance. Click this button, and we are importing the solid geometry into the assembly window right now. Cylinder, convert that into independent. Click OK. This is our geometry. Keep it in any one of the views. This is a front view. Okay. 1, 2, 3, fourth option. Okay, this is our geometry. Now assembly also over. So now we can introduce the crack geometry right now. So now remove the top portion of the cylinder. For that you can make use of this button. See, remove selected. Click that option, change the faces into cell, then remove the top portion, because in this interface, in this region, I am going to introduce a crack. Crackங்கிறது ஒரு surface தான். Cracking is nothing but a small surface which we are going to introduce at the interface. Now I am going to do a surface partition. So if you bring the cursor here, this is cell partition, means volume partition. This is for the partition face. Click the option, then select this surface, middlemost button to cut the command, then select the edge. You will get a sketcher window, then draw a surface, create a circle. So this is to get the reference line. Okay, this is the reference line. Now you can create a crack geometry. Please wait at the end of the now this is my crack. I have developed a surface. Now to get back our removed component, click this. See, have you understood now? There is a cylinder and I have introduced a surface at the interface. That for this purpose only, initially I created the initially I created a different datum plane, and I offset the datum plane to the center. Then in that region I introduced the surface crack. இப்போ இந்த வால் ஒரு சிலிண்டருக்குள்ள ஒரு கிராக் இன்ட்ரடியூஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கோம்ப்பா, அதான் லாஜிக். ஒரு சிலிண்டர் இருக்கு, அந்த சிலிண்டரோட சென்டர் போர்ஷனை பார்ட்டிஷன் பண்ணிட்டு அந்த பார்ட்டிஷன் பண்ணின ரீஜன்ல ஒரு சர்ஃபேஸ் கிராக் இன்ட்ரடியூஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். This is our geometry is now it's ready. After assembly, go to step. So in the step window, these are the various simulation capabilities possible by Abaqus. Abaqus is a finite element method based software. First option is coupled temperature displacement is possible. Okay, coupled temp. One second. Okay, the first window is coupled temperature displacement is possible. Coupled thermal electric. If you are interested in calculating residual stresses, that can be done. Coupled thermal electric structural. 3 different domain also can also be coupled. Direct cyclic. Using fatigue analysis. If you are interested, those who are working in machine design, you can make use of this. Dynamic, implicit, explicit, temperature. These are the capabilities of for the civil domain. Soils, geostatic. Okay, for heat transfer, mass diffusion analysis, entire analysis is possible with ANSYS. Right now we'll take the most simple one, static general. Click OK. That's all. And here also OK. Now step module is over. Go to interaction. Now go to this is an important module to define the crack geometry. Go to interaction, then go to special, then crack. இது வந்து வேற எந்த சாஃப்ட்வேர்லயும் இருக்காது. If you are interested in understanding the fracture parameters of a cracked component, crack, then create. There are 3 options are there. XFEM can be used for the, probably in our series 2 second session I will explain about XFEM. What is my extended finite element method? Right now you can choose contour integral, then continue, then select the crack front. This is the crack front. This is the crack front. The total, this one is the crack surface. If you look at our nail, the tip of the nail is crack. Total nail is called crack surface. Similarly, this is the crack front and the entire surface is called crack surface. click done. Then normal to the crack plane. So we have to select normal either this way and this plane. So this is the normal. Then go to singularity, change the 0.5 into 0.25. Why? There is a computational fracture mechanics fundamental exist behind this each and every entry. So here we are using the singular element. Any component with the presence of the crack at the tip of the crack, the stresses are infinity. But practically none of the material can withstand the infinite stresses. That is the reason we are going to use the terminology stress intensity factor, which will quantify the crack tip stresses for a cracked component. If actually our main intention is to measure the fracture parameter. What is the fracture parameter? Stress intensity factor and J integral, energy release rate. Many parameters are there. We are interested in calculating stress intensity factor. How to calculate them at the crack tip? So since the element are singular in nature, quarter point singular element we are using for our problem. That's why I changed the value into 0.25. And a collapsed element single node, that is the element around the crack tip will be assigned as a singular element. That's why I'm doing. Even if you want, I can repeat this step after the analysis. Okay, now I have defined the crack. Again go to special, then crack, then assign seam. So this is the crack surface. Select the entire crack surface, then click done. Yes, we have selected the assigned the seam also. Now go to mesh option. Okay, so go to the global seed 5.7. Let us take 3. Then go to meshing, mesh part instance. Meshing is over. Now we can go to the load module. Go to the load, first boundary conditions, create boundary conditions, then displacement and rotation. Continue, fix the total top surface. I'm going to completely constrain all the degrees of freedom at the top surface. Yes, constrained. Bottom surface I'm going to apply a pressure load. Again go to create load option, then pressure. Continue, select the bottom option line. Okay, so you can use minus 100 megapascal pressure I'm applying at the bottom. This is idea. Now can you predict what is your final answer, expected final answer for this problem? Any idea? What are we mainly looking for? Any idea? There is a cylinder which consists of a crack at the center. Top surface we have completely constrained, and bottom surface we have applied a 100 megapascal pressure. That's it. So the crack geometry should open. If you want to close all the planes, which is possible. One second. Okay. After the load, meshing also we have completed. Now go to job, then create job 1. Okay. F1 I will give because fracture 1 automatically it will save. So give OK. Now you run your analysis. Give submit button. History output can be created. Okay. There is a one error message. Go to step module, then select the what is the output required for us, that we have to define. Edit. So whole model, convert that into crack. I'm interested in calculating stress intensity factor. These are the 4 fracture parameters. Generally இந்த ஒவ்வொரு ஃப்ராக்சர் பேராமீட்டரும் ஒரு ஜெர்னல் பேப்பரை நீங்கள் கன்வெர்ட் பண்ணலாம். ஒரு காம்ப்ளெக்ஸ் ரியல் டைம் காம்பவுண்ட் எடுத்துக்கங்க, அதில் கிராக்கை இன்ட்ரடியூஸ் பண்ணுங்க, அந்த கிராக்கோட லோடிங் பவுண்டரி கண்டிஷன்ஸ் லோடிங் எல்லாமே கொடுத்துட்டு அந்த கிராக்டு காம்பனண்ட்டோட ஃப்ராக்சர் பேராமீட்டரை கண்டுபிடிக்கிறதே வந்து ஒரு ஜெர்னல் பேப்பருக்கு ஈக்குவலாக இருக்கும். ஸோ ஸ்ட்ரெஸ் இன்டென்சிட்டி ஃபேக்டர் கொடுத்துட்டு ஓகே கொடுத்துருங்க. மிஸ்ஸிங் வேல்யூஸ், நம்பர் ஆஃப் கான்டூர்ஸ், லெட் us take 3. கான்டூர் இன்டெக்ரல் அப்ரோச் we are using. We are using contour integral approach to find the solution to a problem. Step OK. Now go to job, Again, rerun your analysis. Now I'm running the analysis. So at the end of the analysis, I can get the fracture parameter called stress intensity factor at the crack tip. Crack ஓட டிப்ல இருக்க ஒரு fracture parameter கண்டுபிடிக்க போறோம். அந்த parameter யூஸ் பண்ணி we can determine the life of a component. We'll wait for few minutes. Meanwhile, if you have any doubts, it's analysis completed. Go to results. I click the simulation results now. Look at this. Can you see the cracked portion? So this is once again, go to options, common, feature edges, apply. So this is my 1 2 3 4, this is the component. Look at this, this is the initial stage. So after application of the load, see, completely the crack has opened. Suppose if the crack opening displacement, if you can find this displacement, what is the crack tip opening displacement, using that definitely we can calculate the life of a component. See in the stress, this is in the red color zone indicates the stresses at the crack tip. Now using this and using the Paris law equation, definitely we can calculate what is the maximum, what is the crack growth rate of this component, so that we can calculate. So this is the one complete exercise. There are many tutorials also there. Even if you go to YouTube and if you type fracture mechanics tutorial, you can get lot of ideas. The only thing is the blue color indicates unstressed area. Displacement is higher at the blue color region, whereas stresses are higher at the crack tip region. So all the red color region indicates the highly stressed regions. Okay. So the red color region indicates highly stressed region. So the magnitude of this stress can be obtained. There is a different issue. Now this is the one example, simple example, how to do the fracture mechanics analysis of a component. Suppose if you are working in the landing gear, the same procedure can be used in the aircraft landing gear, and you can calculate what is the stresses and strain developed at the tip of the crack. Okay, stresses and strains developed at the tip of the crack. Do you want anybody to repeat any of the step? If you want, I can do so. இதுல யாருக்காவது டவுட்ஸ் இருந்துச்சுனாலும் இப்போ கேட்கலாம். ஏன்னா இதை கிளாரிஃபை பண்ணிட்டு தென் வில் கோ டு த தியரி பார்ட். அதுக்காக சொல்றேன். So far we have completed how to do the fracture test or fracture analysis of a. Suppose சார் நீங்க stress intensity factorனு சொன்னீங்களே, அது எங்க இருக்கு? Definitely you may be having a doubt. Go to job module, then monitor. In that, go to data file. The data file the stress intensity factor values are stored. This is on the K1, K2, K3. These are the different mixed mode stress intensity factor. If you can able to plot these stress intensity factor value, quickly you can produce journal papers. Why I am suggesting, because of lockdown, everybody may be stuck up with conducting experiments. Research scholar இருக்கலாம். எனக்குமே பார்த்தீங்கன்னா என்னோட ஸ்காலர்ஸ்க்கும் எக்ஸ்பெரிமெண்ட்ஸ் பண்ண முடியல. இந்த சுச்சுவேஷன்ல அட்லீஸ்ட் இஃப் யூ நோ ஹவு டு ஒர்க் வித் ஃப்ராக்சர் மெக்கானிக்ஸ், if it is possible to combine this area to your research work, definitely you can do. So these are the K1 is the mode 1 stress intensity factor, K2 is mode 2, K3 is mode 3. Mode 1, if you look at the video, you can understand this is the crack opening mode, and this is the in plane shear crack opening mode. This is out of plane shear. There are three modes of fracture: in plane shear, crack opening mode, in plane shear, and out of plane shear. So now these data can be copied to Excel to plot the graph. Okay, so if you put it, finally I want to show it through animation also. Job, we go to results. This is our idea. One second. Okay, this is before deformation. After application of the load, now the component has deformed in this way. So the crack geometry, this is called the crack border. Look at this one. This is called the crack border, and this entire, this one is a crack surface. Show you in a side view. See, yes, crack has opened because of the surface. So this is surface crack. Okay, once again I want to highlight only the important area. Go to interaction, tools, sorry, go to special, crack, create. Using this option, even you can introduce multiple cracks also in your geometry. You can introduce multiple cracks also to determine how the crack can mingle each other, or how the presence of second crack affects the first crack. All those insights you can understand. Any doubts? So we'll go to the fracture part very quickly, just few minutes before 11:30. Only 5 minutes I want to refresh the concept of fracture mechanics. Anybody? Shall I? Okay, I'll minimize this. Now we'll go to the fracture aspects. So the fundamentals of fracture mechanics, we can say bridges, aircraft structures, and marine applications. Generally, the fracture mechanics is a study wherein material resistance to fracture is characterized. So the important, for example, for strength of materials la Young's modulus, Poisson's ratio nu solrom. அதே மாதிரி fracture mechanics la fracture toughness is the measurement. If you are decided to work under fracture mechanics, you should know how to determine the fracture toughness of a material, or the resistance of a material against fracture. That is important. In that category, there are two parts. One is the linear elastic fracture mechanics, another one is elastic plastic fracture mechanics. So crack propagation can also be done using extended finite element method software. The unit of fracture toughness is anybody? What is the unit? One second, pointer option, pen. Unit of fracture toughness is megapascal root meter. So this is the unit. Okay. Now, how to determine the fracture toughness? There are many ASTM standards are available for LEFM and EPFM approach. So now this is the, see, sharp crack is located in a structure. At the tip of the crack, how to determine the fracture parameters? That part I have covered today. So breaking of the Liberty ship was the origin, we can say, for the fracture mechanics. So welding instead of rivet. Again, this is story. Okay. When time permits, we'll concentrate the theory part in detail. How to use the finite element method for the fracture mechanics problem, that part alone I have covered. Different modes of fracture, see, crack opening mode, in plane shear, and out of plane shear or tearing modes. Okay. There are the types of fracture are ductile fracture and brittle fracture. As I mentioned, the brittle fracture is promoted by low temperature, high strain rate. Can you tell me what is the important reason for Titanic ship failure? Anybody? Exactly. At the time of impact, what was happened? Any idea, sir? Any idea? Iceberg la poi hit achu, fine. And the hit panna moment, the entire base portion of the ship was under completely brittle material because sub-zero temperature, night time. Okay. So sub-zero temperature la the material was completely so brittle. That's why the crack could able to propagate at faster rate, even though the material was ductile. Actually, in the room temperature, the material was ductile. Because of sub-zero temperature, the brittleness of the material increased. So which caused the sudden impact failure of the Titanic ship. So the brittleness in the material, நீங்க நிறைய பேர் ரிசர்ச் பேப்பர் எழுதுறப்பலாம் எழுதிருப்பீங்க, இந்த brittleness increased, அல்லது உங்களோட அந்த செம் இமேஜஸை வச்சு ஜஸ்டிஃபிகேஷன் எழுதுறப்போ நம்ம சொல்லியிருப்போம். Different இந்த மாதிரி நியூக்ளியர் இந்த டக்டைல் ஃபைனல் ஃப்ராக்சர் வந்து இட்ஸ் மெயின்லி பிகாஸ் ஆஃப் டக்டைல் ஃப்ராக்சர், ரிவர் லைன் பேட்டர்ன் இருக்கு, அல்லது பீச் மார்க்ஸ் இருக்கு. இதெல்லாம் நீங்க உங்களோட அந்த செம் கிராஃப்ல சொல்லியிருப்போம். சிமிலர்லி ஹியர் ஆல்சோ த ஃபேக்டர் அஃபெக்டிங் த ஃப்ராக்சர் பிஹேவியர் ஆஃப் ஏ மெட்டீரியல், டெம்பரேச்சர், ஸ்ட்ரெயின் ரேட், ஸ்டேட் ஆஃப் ஸ்ட்ரெஸ். இந்த 3 பெராமீட்டர்ல ஸ்டேட் ஆஃப் ஸ்ட்ரெஸ் தான் நம்ம கால்குலேட் பண்ணி. இப்போ நம்ம எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ண எக்ஸாம்பிள் வந்து என்னன்னா, ஹவு டிட்டர்மைன் ஸ்ட்ரெஸ் இன்டென்சிட்டி ஃபேக்டர். ஸ்ட்ரெஸ் இன்டென்சிட்டி ஃபேக்டருங்கிறது ஒன் ஆஃப் த ஃப்ராக்சர் பெராமீட்டர். But right now I am working for how to determine the J integral, that is elastic plastic fracture mechanics for a nuclear grade steels. So in the அந்த அப்ளிகேஷன்ஸ்ல ஒர்க் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம். If you need any clarifications, definitely you can call me. So there are many more concepts are there related to fracture part. When time permits, probably in the phase 2 we'll continue. Right now the important concepts are the different types of fracture: brittle fracture, ductile to brittle transition, we can say. Always the fracture process starts with crack initiation, crack propagation, and final fracture. There are 3 stages: crack nucleation and crack propagation and final fracture. There are many interesting case studies also available with this. Titanic ship failure இருக்கு. இந்த fracture componentல பாத்தீங்கன்னா தெரியும். Whenever we are doing the tensile test, whenever the load is applied, initially the crack will propagate, then finally the two surfaces are separated from each other. This is how the fracture process happens. To address this issue, strength of materials may not be sufficient. Definitely it is not possible by strength of materials, because strength of materials assume defect free raw material, but fracture mechanics assumes their presence of a crack. Okay, so I stop my lecture up to this, because the time is only 5 minutes remaining. In the meanwhile, I want to highlight some of the points. Today we have discussed application of finite element method, especially in the aviation, in that especially fracture application. If there is a presence of a defect in aircraft component, how to determine the fracture parameter. So that part we have discussed today. And using the calculated stress intensity factor or J integral, we can predict the life of the component. Probably next meeting, next seminar or something, at that time I will explain how to use FE safe software to determine the fracture, to determine the fatigue life of a component. Right now I'm working in the same area. Okay, so this is the juice which we have discussed so far. If you need any help related to abacus part, or if you are working with a certain extent, we will discuss through phone, and if you need some inputs related to your research work, definitely I can help you. And if you want to work with me, definitely again that is also most welcome. Even I'm ready to help you for your final year students final year project or research work. Or if you want to develop a new area for the, already if you have completed doctorate and if you want to learn this area in detailed way, definitely I can send tutorials or anything. And if you want to get any tutorial for the abacus, it is available in YouTube. So in other domains it may not be available. Go to YouTube, and if you type abacus tutorials plus anything related to your domain, you can get plenty of tutorial. Software trial version is available. So in SSN we have a licensed version also for your research work. Definitely the COVID period, you can make use of the available time for your research work using the abacus software. So within this I conclude my lecture, and I thank the management of Panimalar College and Panimalar Institute of Technology for the opportunity me. I express my sincere thanks to Murugan sir for giving me an opportunity to share my views related to finite element method. If you have any queries, you can ask me for another 5 to 10 minutes. I'm ready to share my views. If you have any queries or any doubts, you can ask me right now. Now the session is open to the participants. You can unmute yourself and you can ask your doubts. Any clarifications required? Anybody? Okay. Definitely fracture part we can do, but only the biggest challenge is how are we going to model the, how are we going to assign the material property and failure criteria. Definitely fracture can be done on the polymer nano composites. Once if you have a mechanical property, stress strain curve, and other Johnson's Cook parameters, the material modeling data is with you, definitely you can do the options, because Mullin's effect, while explaining the material behavior, I explained them. There is an option, viscoelastic material. I think that option, either that option or deformation plasticity, definitely we can try. We can use it. Only thing is, if we are strong with material data, definitely we can do. No issues in that. Any other doubts? Or you can post it in chat box also. One more chat I received. Is it suitable for I think, what is that? How can I see? Uh, any kind of material MMCs, only thing is challenge exists in the modeling and the material property. One more idea also I can suggest, DMAT option is available in Abacus, user defined material property definition. Any material, irrespective of aluminum or steel or any composites, MMC, whatever it may be, only thing is we need a characterized data, all tensile test data, compression test data. Once if you have a mechanical complete thorough knowledge about